fifth episode on synthetic dyes. In the earlier episode, we have discussed three classes of synthetic dyes, which include azo dyes, the anthraquinone dyes and triphenyl methane dyes. In the present lecture, we will discuss the synthesis and chemistry of indigo tin. We will discuss the phthalene dyes like phenolphthalein. Then we will discuss xanthine dyes like fluorescein, and we will also discuss some natural dyes like henna, turmeric, catechu and walnut shells. So, to start with indigo tin, the indigo is the oldest known dye and is found in the plants of Indigofera group. It is present in the plant as beta glucoside of indoxyl known as indican. On the basis of mode of application, indigo tin is classified as a wet dye. When the water insoluble colored compounds are used in their reduced form or leuco compounds for the purpose of dyeing, they are called wet dyes. The process of reduction in alkaline medium is termed as wetting. Indigo is present in the plants as beta glucoside of indoxyl, which is known as indican. This figure here you can see is the plant of Indigofera from which dye indigo is extracted. On acidic or enzymatic hydrolysis, indican forms glucose and indoxyl. Indoxyl, the leuco base, on oxidation forms indigo. Natural indigo dye is obtained by processing indigo leaves. They are soaked in water and fermented to convert glucoside indican naturally present in the plant to the blue dye indigo tin. This dye is obtained by processing Indigofera plant leaves. Here you can see this is the beta glucoside of the indigo, which upon enzymatic action is converted into indoxyl, which upon oxidation gives indigo, the dye which is electric blue in color. We will now discuss the synthetic method for the preparation of indigo tin, which is called human synthesis of indigo tin. This method involves heating of aniline with chloroacetic acid to form phenyl glycine. Phenyl glycine on treatment with sodium or potassium hydroxide forms the salt, which on fusion with sodamide forms indoxyl. Indoxyl on atmospheric oxidation forms indigo. Here you can see that this is aniline reacted upon with chloroacetic acid followed by treatment with sodium hydroxide to form the sodium salt of this phenyl glycine, which upon fusion with sodamide forms indoxyl and which upon oxidation gives indigo. The second synthetic method for the preparation of indigo tin is starting from anthranilic acid. Here anthranilic acid is treated with chloroacetic acid and forms phenyl glycine orthocarboxylic acid. This phenyl glycine orthocarboxylic acid on fusion with the mixture of potassium hydroxide and sodamide undergoes ring closure followed by decarboxylation to form indoxyl. Indoxyl upon atmospheric oxidation as usual forms indigo or indigo tin. You can see here that we have started with naphthalene, and starting from naphthalene we have got anthranilic acid via this series of steps. In the first step there is oxidation of naphthalene to give this phthalic anhydride followed by reaction with ammonia to give phthalimide. Upon hydrolysis here there is formation of phthalimidic acid formed, which upon Hoffmann bromamide degradation forms anthranilic acid. This anthranilic acid then is treated with chloroacetic acid to give the phenyl glycine orthocarboxylic acid, and this upon fusion with potassium hydroxide and sodamide gives this indoxylic acid, which upon decarboxylation forms indoxyl, and indoxyl then upon oxidation forms indigo tin. So, all these steps actually includes in the second synthesis of indigo tin, and this is termed as human synthesis of indigo tin. Phenyl glycine orthocarboxylic acid required for the synthesis of indigo tin may also be prepared from anthranilic acid by following sequence of reaction. That is, instead of treating this anthranilic acid with chloroacetic acid, here we have reacted this anthranilic acid with formaldehyde followed by potassium cyanide. so that there is formation of this NHCH2CN, and this upon hydrolysis the cyanide group is oxidized to carboxylic group and there is formation of phenylglycine orthocarboxylic acid. Rest of the steps for the synthesis of indigo are same as we have discussed earlier. Now we will discuss the color shown in indigo tin. Indigo tin is expected to exhibit geometrical isomerism. Geometrical isomerism, that means the molecule should exist as cis isomer and as trans isomer, but it has been found that only trans form or E isomer is isolated in the natural sources, and the reason behind it is the higher stability of the trans isomer because of hydrogen bonding. The deep blue color, this is the deep blue color is shown by this indigo tin, and the deep blue color associated with indigo is due to the presence of chromophoric groups like NH2 and carbonyl group attached to carbon-carbon double bond. This is the structure of trans indigo tin. Here you can see that this is NH group and this is CO group. If both NH group are on the same side, then it becomes a cis isomer, but when the NH groups are on opposite side, here there is one NH group on one side of this carbon-carbon double bond and another NH group on the other side of the carbon-carbon double bond, then it makes the trans form of indigo tin. And you can see adjacent to NH here there is a carbon oxygen double bond. So, there is a possibility of formation of hydrogen bond between them. Similarly, this intramolecular hydrogen bonding is possible on this side of molecule also, and this is the reason that the natural indigo tin we get is only a trans isomer, no cis isomer is isolated in the natural forms. It is the deep blue color dye used for dyeing cotton and rayon fiber. Here you can see this is the colored blue form of indigo and this is the colorless leucobase of indigo. You can see here that this leucobase upon oxidation forms a colored indigo, and indigo upon reduction forms the sodium disodium salt, the leucobase, which is colorless. We will now discuss the method of dyeing with indigo. For the purpose of dyeing a fabric with indigo, a paste of dye is stirred with reducing agent such as sodium dithionate in large vats. As a result, indigo is reduced to a soluble leucobase, also called dihydro dye, which is colorless. The cloth to be dyed is then soaked in the solution of reduced dye, the leuco compound. It is then spread in the air so that the leucobase is oxidized back to generate the original blue dye. The oxidation can also be done by using sodium perborate. If the sunlight or the air is not utilized for oxidation, then oxidation can also be done by this oxidizing agent. The dyeing in case of vat dyes is a continuous process and is carried out in large vessels called vats. Indigo is a vat dye. Vat dyes are mostly used for dyeing cotton. They dye both vegetable as well as animal fibers directly. In this figure is shown the color of indigo. It has so bright blue color. We will now discuss the synthesis of phenolphthalein. The synthesis of phenolphthalein is carried out by the condensation of phenol with phthalic anhydride in presence of zinc chloride. Here you can see these are the two molecules of phenol and this is phthalic anhydride. When they are heated in zinc chloride, they form this dye phenolphthalein. Phenolphthalein is a white crystalline solid which is insoluble in water, but is soluble in alcohol. It is soluble in alkali and gives a deep red color due to the formation of disodium salt, a doubly charged anion having a cunoid structure, and color is present there because of resonance. If excess of alkali is added into the solution of or into this phenolphthalein, then the solution again becomes colorless. The red color disappears, and this is because of the formation of trisodium salt, which is actually a triply charged anion and which does not have any possibility of resonance. This has been shown in this figure. Here you can see that this is phenolphthalein, uncharged molecule in acidic medium, does not have any color. So, it is a colorless phenolphthalein solution in acid, but as we add sodium hydroxide into it, then there is formation of disodium salt. At these two positions, hydrogen is replaced and we get disodium salt. This disodium salt of phenolphthalein is resonance stabilized, and you can see here that it has cunoid structure also. So, this phenolphthalein shows deep red color or pinkish red color in alkaline solution. But look what happens when we add excess of sodium hydroxide. When a large excess of sodium hydroxide is added, then this disodium salt is converted into trisodium salt. Trianion is formed, and in this trianionic form the resonance is not possible, or this anion is not stabilized by resonance as it was in case of disodium salt. As a result, this phenolphthalein in highly alkaline condition is again colorless. We will now discuss the application of phenolphthalein. The mode of application of phenolphthalein is acid dye. These dyes are essentially sodium salts of acid which contain a sulfonic acid or a phenolic acid group. The color of the dye is in its negative ion, that is in alkaline solution. These dyes have very bright colors and have a very wide range of fastness. These dyes are also called anionic dyes. These dyes are always used in acidic solution. The fabric is stirred in hot solution of the dye in the presence of acid or salt till it is smoothly dyed. It is then removed and dried. We will now discuss the synthesis of fluorescein. Fluorescein belongs to the group of xanthine dyes. They are quite related to phthalene dyes as both are prepared by similar methods. Xanthine dyes contain dibenzopyran or xanthine ring. They are obtained by introducing OH or NH2 or dialkyl amino group into the benzene ring. These groups are oxochromes and intensify the color of xanthine. Here it is the xanthine nucleus. This is also called divinyl pyran nucleus. We will now discuss the synthesis of fluorescein, which is prepared by the condensation of phthalic anhydride with resorcinol in presence of concentrated sulfuric acid. It is an orange solid which gives a reddish brown color in alkaline solution. On dilution, the alkaline solution of fluorescein imparts yellow green fluorescence. The sodium salt of fluorescein is also called uranine. We will now discuss the synthetic route for the preparation of fluorescein, which includes the condensation of 2 molecules of resorcinol with 1 molecule of phthalic anhydride in presence of zinc chloride. A dihydroxide is formed here, which upon removal of water molecule or upon dehydration forms fluorescein. Since fluorescein is colored, the non-cunoid uncharged structure is unsatisfactory. We know that fluorescein is colored, but in this structure you can see there is no charge in fluorescein. So, with the chemistry we know about the dyes, we can think the color is not due to this structure, but there should be some ion formation in fluorescein structure. So, let us see how the structure is related to the color in fluorescein. Now, since fluorescein is colored and if it does not have non-cunoid structure, then it will not satisfactorily give the explanation for its color, and that is why following 2 cunoid structures have been suggested for the color observed in fluorescein. And you can see here in this structure there is a cunoid structure, and here also this is a orthocunoid structure which is responsible for the color in fluorescein. Fluorescein gives a reddish brown color in alkaline solution, which on dilution imparts yellow green fluorescence. The fluorescence, this green yellow fluorescence is clearly evident even when the ratio of fluorescein and water is in the ratio of 1:40,100. That is, even if very small amount of fluorescein is present, the fluorescence can be seen or can be observed very evidently, and because of this reason this property is used to trace the flow of groundwater. That is, if there is fluorescein added into or injected it at certain point, and if groundwater will be there in very small quantity, even then the fluorescence will be observed. So, this property of fluorescein giving yellow green fluorescence with water is used to trace the flow of groundwater. The disodium salt of fluorescein is called uranine, and as you can see, this is the disodium salt, which is a resonance hybrid of these two structure, and here again you can see the cunoid structure very evident, because of which fluorescein shows color. We will now discuss some natural dyes. The dyes that occur in nature are called natural dyes. Under the category of synthetic dyes, we have discussed a number of dyes, and in today's lecture also we have discussed indigo tin. Indigo tin or indigo is a natural dye, that is, it can be obtained from the plant, the leaves of Indigofera, but since the requirement of dye is much more, a lot many amount of this indigo tin is prepared synthetically also. But the other than indigo tin, there are certain other natural dyes which we are going to discuss right now. So, the dyes that occur in nature are called natural dyes. A number of colored compounds are available naturally like henna, turmeric, catechu and walnut shells. The natural sources that account for coloring compounds are the various parts in the plants. The natural dye are used for coloring fibers and for cosmetic purposes. The reason is very simple. When we have to use something for cosmetic purposes, then the hazardous chemicals should not be there in the formulations, and that is possible only with natural dyes. First of all, we will discuss henna, the natural dye. It is reddish brown dye obtained from the leaves of plant Lawsonia inermis. This plant is native to India, Egypt, Arabia and Iran. The leaves of the plant are dried and powdered. The paste of this powder in water is used for cosmetic purposes. It may be applied to hairs, fingernails, palm and feet. It is a fast dye and was earlier used for dyeing leather and fabric also. The reddish brown color of henna is due to the presence of lawsone, which is a cunoid compound. Here you can see this structure of lawsone. In this molecule, this is a cunoid structure, and in addition to cunoid structure, the molecule has carbon oxygen double bond, the chromophoric group, and it has OH group also, which is oxochrome, and that is why henna has such bright color. Another natural dye is turmeric, very well known, and it is a reddish orange natural dye obtained from the tubers of plant Curcuma longa. This turmeric is used as a natural antiseptic also. It is extensively used in India to impart yellow color to food, especially curries and gravies. It is a very good antioxidant also, and it is used as preservative in number of cosmetic formulations. So, it has diverse utility. The color of turmeric is due to the presence of curcumin, a highly conjugated system. Turmeric imparts red color in alkaline solution because of the formation of cunoid structure. Here you can see that this is the enolic form and this is the keto form of this curcumin. In the keto form, there is formation of cunoid structure, and that is why it shows red color, or a highlighted color you can say is observed in the alkaline condition, whereas in normal neutral conditions it shows yellow color. Another natural dye is catechu. It is obtained from the plant Acacia catechu, native to India and Burma. The brown color dye is used to impart brown, fawn, olive and khaki color to fabric. It is also used for chewing with betel leaves, which imparts reddish color to the tongue and lips. Chewing catechu with betel leaves is a very common habit in rural and urban India. Catechu contains catechol 1,2-dihydroxybenzene, which oxidizes to orthobenzoquinone as a result of aerial oxidation. And as we all know that whenever there is a cunoid structure present in a molecule, then there is color associated with the molecule, and that is why the orthobenzoquinone, which is formed as a result of oxidation of catechol, it shows a brownish red color. We will then discuss another natural dye, walnut shells. This walnut shell stain the skin brown, which is due to the presence of juglone in the shells. This juglone has paraquinoid structure. Here you can see that this is juglone having this paraquinoid structure with chromophoric groups as well as this oxochromic group present in it, because of which it shows color. Well, to summarize now today's lecture, we have discussed in detail the chemistry and synthesis of indigotin. We have discussed this phenolphthalein and fluorescein, and then we have also discussed some natural dyes like henna, turmeric, catechu and walnut shells. In the earlier lectures on synthetic dyes, we have discussed in detail the classification of dyes. We have also discussed why the color and constitution of dyes, that is a particular compound or a molecule or an object shows a particular color or it does not show another color. We have discussed the chemistry and synthesis of a number of synthetic dyes also in detail. So, with this we have completed the chapter or unit on synthetic dyes. Thank you very much.